In one word, describe Sheri.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Sheri Tingey.
One word description.
She's like this.
It's hard to pick one word.
What's that word for when you're afraid of poetry?
Kind of otherworldly.
Metrophobia. It's not that. I just remember that word though. It's a fun word.
I don't think there's a single word that you can describe Sheri. She's like the word is Sheri.
I never remember dreaming, but I wake up with my boat ideas. The diva drives everything. She keeps setting herself back there. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. It's just been one of those, you pull it out, you work on it, and you put it back away. You pull it out, you work on it, and you put it back away. Are you ready yet? No, I'm not ready yet. I need one more curtain call. That's been her story. Try to resist what now?
Fidgeting with stickers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know I'm terrible.
Yeah.
My name is Sheri Tingey. I would say I was certainly sewing by 3. It was mostly stuffed animals. Then it became doll clothes. I thought what would be fun at the start. Give me 5 of your favorite pet peeves about hoods. My sister, she was older, so I got the hand-me-downs and I hated them. I put these things on and I just thought they were hideous.
Exactly, and that's what I meant when they...
And the only way I could deal with that is I would take scissors to them in the night. I'm really fond of molding stuff and then you take it apart and build a pattern off. It was like, I would go into my closet and all these hand-me-down clothes that I would get, I'd chop them up. Tie back. And I'd march out the door in the morning and one sleeve's cut off this way and one sleeve's that way and one slap it. I was very happy because it no longer looked like this dress that I didn't want to wear. I'm starting to get in shape now. I hit a point that by the 5th grade, this is all just rough because I decided that I could make the clothing myself. From that point forward, I made almost all my clothing. That's working better there. In 1967, I moved to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The ski area opened in 1966. My first business, that was designed by Sheri. I made ski clothing. I was so tired of snow going down my neck and up my back and up my sleeves and all these things. There was no idea and no concept of building gear for movement. I made this suit and people started stopping me and asking me, where did you get that? And as soon as they found out that I made it, it would be, well, will you make me one? Designed by Sheri was all women. There were 7 of us in that shop. And we'd all go ski in the morning, be on the first tram, and everybody'd end up back in the shop by 3 in the afternoon. And we'd work into the night. There was a freedom. We skied our asses off, we sewed our asses off, and we laughed our asses off. I got invited on a raft trip on the Owyhee River. There were 4 kayakers, and I had never seen a kayak before. They let all of us hokies in the raft get in their kayaks, and I got in this kayak, and I fell in love. That was it. I ordered a kayak, and that kayak showed up, maybe a month and a half later. And that's when boating really started to take off in Jackson Hole, but that boat that I brought in was the first. Thor was born May 17th, 1978.
Her colleagues from when she was in her 20s and 30s moving to Jackson Hole, they were like, oh, your mom's the best athlete we've ever known. She was, kayaking the Selway, which is funny because in 2015, I went and ran the Selway and had the closest near-death experience I've had in paddling ever. Thinking back, I'm like, how did she paddle since 1969 with just a simple fiberglass kayak?
Kayaking was my life. Skiing was my life. I have been a person that ran 24/7. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue when I was 34. It has been the defining nightmare of my life. In those days, nobody had answers. They didn't even acknowledge it. All of a sudden, the body just went south, and there it went, and it never came back. So you get looked at like, well, it must be a psychological case. All I could do was hide, as far as like, okay, I'm going to try to make myself normal. I just got so depressed from all of that that I disappeared. When the opportunity to come to Alaska came, one of the reasons I said yes was nobody had a clue who I was, who I had been, what I had not been. I was a blank slate. I had basically given up my sewing business. I didn't have the strength to do it anymore. So I had 5 or 6 years where I just couldn't even get near the sewing machine. The minute I sit down to sew, in 15 minutes, I'd be screaming. I was hurting so bad.
I knew that Mom had chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't know if she called it then, but I knew that she had health problems. She'd be tired and need to spend days in bed. She's the only mom I had, so I didn't know how much different that was than other parents out there. But on the other side of that, as I grew up, I learned tumbling from her. I learned swimming from her. I learned all kinds of different things from her. And she taught myself, my sister, and tons of other kids those things. What's that? Is that whaling? Oh, that's a good choice.
Fox and socks? You love fox and socks.
Take it slowly. This book is dangerous. Knocks in box, fox in socks.
Knocks on fox in socks in box.
Socks on knocks and knocks in box. Fox in socks on box on knocks.
Chicks with bricks and blocks and clocks come. Look, sir, Mr. Knoxer.
Let's do tricks with bricks and blocks, sir. Let's do tricks with chicks and clocks, sir.
First, I'll make a quick trick break style.
Oh, I should have known. Uh-oh.
Who's this? Who's that?
You, Grandma?
Oh my goodness. You haven't seen this book before. Eating dandelions?
They learned how to survive in the Alaska bush. They were good Alaska kids that way, you know. Very tough kids.
There's your mom, and there's your eyes, Waylon. Look at that. And there's your dad with a whole bunch of silver salmon. And look at that, your dad had
like
hair.
20 years ago.
Amazing. Your dad had hair.
It was classic Alaska. We had no power, no running water. They got into dog mushing then, and we slowly started building up a dog team there.
That was something that worked great, having chronic fatigue, because you could just kind of snuggle in the sled if you had to. If I was going to survive, I had to change the way I functioned, the way I designed, the way I thought. I thought, okay, can you do this? This is a vest for Waylon. Takes a fair amount of concentration, actually, but it's very Zen concentration. I worked and I worked and I worked at training myself to start something, to breathe. You know how when you focus, you 10 minutes later, like, what'd you take? 3 breaths in that way. To not think too much about it. To walk away from it after an hour. I forced myself to retrain to get to where I could sew again. And it turned out to be relaxing in a way. All right, guys, do we want a half moon or do you want stars? That was really good. I was getting a little stronger with the chronic fatigue.
Yeah, it's a nice thing about kids stuff. It doesn't matter. You can have fun and they don't know the difference.
Mom made me all my ski clothes, all of my dog mushing clothes, all of my outdoor clothes, she made.
Yeah.
As a kid who's a middle school or high school kind of wants to be popular, your mom making something is not cool.
He hated anything I made.
I
just hated it.
I was very frustrated with always having to be in mom wear.
I didn't have money to buy Patagonia, so I would make it.
And she's telling me, I can make a better one than Patagonia one.
Then, oh, if I do it this way, you'll like it better. If I do it that, no, there's nothing I'm going to do that you're going to like.
So I also fought my own acknowledgement of like her talent at those things.
Because I had given everything else up sewing, this meant a lot to me. I wanted my kids to like it. I wouldn't let them know, but inside I would be really crushed. What is packrafting? It turns all those, be it rivers or lakes or edge of the ocean, into part of your journey rather than that, oh God, what do I do now?
In the old days, you know, there were sort of two kinds of trips that you would do in Alaska. You could either do a backpacking trip, and the other kind of trip was just a river trip. And nobody had really mixed the two up.
Roman is the linchpin from the people actually packrafting. Roman's college professor at APU, and I'm like a college kid, and he says, I just went on this 700-mile hell bike traverse of the Alaska range, and National Geographic published our story about it. And he rolls out a series of maps. He had markings for rapids and markings for the route they used to go up and over a pass.
He inspired me to go on my first 170-mile traverse of the Alaska range.
This went on both of my big packraft expeditions, first in the Alaska range, then to the Brooks range.
Thor orders this boat, and I'm back at the house when this boat arrives, and I undo this package and I look at this, and you are so toast.
This boat is literally just a vinyl pool toy that's been colored green to make it look like it's backcountry worthy, but it is not.
This boat is, you know, it was tissue paper.
Sheri actually glued on this orange fabric patch so we wouldn't put as many holes in the floor.
That's about as much as I could do. Well, good luck.
In the summer of 2000, we spent 39 days in the backcountry, and we drew a line going up river valleys, over passes, down river valleys, all the way through the Brooks Range. That was close to 700 miles.
He had discovered that the boats were cold and wet, and you just pretty much shiver in them.
Hypothermia was a daily occurrence for us. We had no PFDs, no dry suits, no nothing, just us sitting in packrafts in icy water. But we were 22 years old, and that's just how we did it. Our rule of thumb, which people might think is dangerous now, was paddle until one of us started slurring our speech. And that was the cue to the rest of us that somebody has reached the point of hypothermia where they can't really talk straight anymore. When I got done with the trip, I was like, I love this idea of packrafting. I love this idea of landscape travel. But I can't do it with these boats. It's just not practical. I don't want to be that cold. I don't want to deal with gear failure all the time.
He shipped the boat home to me. It was just this wet, molded, soggy, heavy mess. It was patches on top of patches on top of patches. He gets home and he looks at that and he says, okay, Mom, can you build me a boat? I just started laughing. It's like, okay.
And he said his mom was going to make a raft. You know, I was like, yeah, right.
She had always wanted to make me things and never had a son that appreciated that. Suddenly I'm like ready to appreciate the things that she can do.
I don't think he thought even once that that was a strange request.
And she's there with the energy and time to be able to actually build this thing that I really think is going to be critical for like all these trips that I want to do.
And I was coming from, I had lost it all, built it back up, and was opening up again. All the way back then I was like, damn, can I build this boat that will really act like a kayak? And I just looked at that and went, yeah, I can do that.
And so that ended up being kind of the perfect opportunity for us to get together, work together, and build those first prototypes.
It was almost like the universe was saying to me, you've done your work, you learned your lessons, you get a second chance. And I thought, okay, I need fabric to build this thing. What's airtight? So I made that first boat out of duct tape and shower curtain.
I went and saw the boats that she was making and how she was going through it all, and I was immediately struck by her professionalism.
Roman would come up once a week, checking things out all the time.
Like, instead of copying something like I had done and burning my fingers and having crooked seams, you know, she was cutting fabric and thinking about its three-dimensional shape.
He was in my back. Hi, what are you?
It just allowed us to keep pushing our limits, and so every time we pushed into new water, we wanted something else.
We went along with that for quite some time.
And it needed somebody like Sheri, who was listening to somebody like Thor, to make a great boat. Getting in that white boat that Sheri made, that was a real turning point. That's when I was like, yep, this is the future of packrafting, is this boat right here. It was nimble, and it was light, and it looked good.
Once I got the first boat that I loved and would do the things that I wanted to do, my mind was like, I'm done, I'm happy, I'm going and doing these trips. But she kept pursuing new designs, new ideas, new materials, new methods of construction. I went off to law school and pursued my own career in that. And she was really focusing her energy full-time on building boats and the business.
She was kind of mad scientist level, like back in the day.
This happens to me all the time. Let's say we start from the stern and you go all the way around. As you come the other way, it's the other panelists on top, and that's where it kind of goes, ah! Don't ever be afraid that it won't work the first 30 times.
Right.
It's a matter of doing it and doing it and doing it. The biggest mistake people make is they start this and then they stop, and then they readjust again. Do your thing, girl.
She's since then, I think, learned a lot about like regulating her pace and like taking care of herself and like not eating McDonald's for, you know, 2 days because that's all she has time for, because she's so focused on whatever little design project she's into.
And it was good because those years I ran Alpacka for me. But then when I came to that point that I need an end game, I gave Thor a call and I said, this isn't for tomorrow, but I said, you know, I want you to think about, are you guys interested? This is a labor of love, and if it's not treated as a labor of love, it's a disaster.
And in 2016, my wife Sarah and I came back to the business and joined full-time.
You know, when this started out as a hobby garage project, none of us could have envisioned like what this was going to turn into, ever.
We're getting ready. It's called a regatta. We're gonna move some shit.
Okay, let's go boating.
This is Packrafting.
Oh my god! Ah!
Go for it.
Okay, this is the boat, and this is that center kneeling thing we were telling you about.
I admire Sheri a lot, not just as a woman, but as a woman pursuing her own entrepreneurship and like business ideas. I know it has not been easy for her.
Those early years, I took a lot of hits from people. I'm an older woman, and I'm building boats.
She's had a lot of people for a lot of years tell her she doesn't know what she's talking about, and She doesn't know how to do things. Most women have been on the receiving end of that kind of condescension and just like invisibility.
People are like, what are you doing and how can you do this and how can you possibly know this? And
it makes you question yourself and what you're doing and whether or not you belong. She's really held true to herself through a lot of shit.
I just felt like, no, I don't want to get into that battle. I'm just gonna let the boats talk for themselves.
Sheri, in that time, realized I'm getting divorced, I'm moving out of Alaska, I've got to start my own factory.
You know, you talk about the perfect storms of life.
One of our early customers said, hey, I've got a ranch here and I've got an old shop and you can start in here.
That's how I ended up in Mancos. I don't know exactly how to say this right, but you get older and a lot of times you don't think you have anything to say or to pass on. And, you know, I'm not a genius, but you sometimes don't give yourself credit for that. Yeah, what techniques you do have, for God's sakes, do pass those on.
Sheri and I have a weekly sewing class on Fridays. It was created to teach me how to make patterns. Sheri and I decided that the easiest way to learn how to do patterns was to create clothing.
You know, the reality, building a coat, a garment, is much more difficult than building a boat.
Yeah, I agree.
Shall we try this?
Yeah. I remember we sat there and watched the impeachment hearings.
Let's bring George over here. He's got a little too big of a head.
And we just watched the jackets that these guys were wearing. It's like, oh, there's a fold there. And Sheri's like, well, what do you think's going on there? And I'm like, well, it's pulling from like this one button. And Sheri's like, yeah, that guy put on 15 or 20 pounds since he had that jacket fitted.
She's always looking at something thinking, how can I make that better?
If I get a wild hair, I have to chase that hair until I bury it.
She is always thinking about boats and continues to this day have that passion and fire to do it.
There was this little thing in the back of my brain like, can I build a boat to run higher level water? As soon as I say, oh, this looks great, the next question comes in, can I make it? It has challenged me and made me dig into myself like nothing I've ever done before. I've used every trick I can possibly come up with.
Sheri's wheels just kept turning, trying new things, trying different things.
If it hadn't been for the Anaconda, we wouldn't have the Diva.
We have 20 or 30 different generational prototypes.
Have you seen the Alpacka? It's a portable toilet that we made. This was started baffling. Absolutely. The Diva she's had many names. She's been the Alpacalypse, she's been the bitch, she's been everything under the sun, but she is the Valkyrie now. My job to get to Dustin is the pattern ready for him to make it really clean.
It can be 2 or 3 iterations before you get it to all work together. I've given my life to the Valkyrie for the last 8 months. Sheri represents everything I want to be.
She's the design genius behind everything.
Sheri is a genius.
60 years of design experience and all we know about building with inflation and materials and ideas and Sheri's ideas.
It is 60 years of design.
honestly feel like the Valkyrie is a small stepping stone on Sheri's legacy.
Every time I get in a boat, every time I'm like, wow, Sheri, thank you. I know I'm gonna have fun and it's because of you.
She's like the best grandma. She's so helpful. She's so fun to spend time with.
Even after 43 years, I don't think that I fully understood her level of talent or what she's done for me in my life and what she's given up.
I think we should put piranhas in here next.
We are in Mancos, Colorado, and we're just having a good time at happy hour.
I may have salad in my teeth.
What is this thing called? A floopster?
Sheri is probably the ultimate mastermind behind this place.
She lifts teacups everywhere she goes, but she's genius.
I mean, who's able to wrangle all these people, start something in Alaska, come to a small town like this?
Just kind of like a storybook character.
I want to say inspiring, I want to say driven.
Her heart is huge. The fact that she can make the things that she does is mind-boggling to me. She's been there for me in every way.
She's a world of knowledge.
Pues para mí ha sido una muy buena persona.
I feel like you go through life and every once in a while you meet these people. You know, they have this brilliance and like uniqueness that doesn't quite fit into like what you see every day.
Sheri Tingey is a genius. Yes, a genius.
Thank you, Q. Thank you, cameraman. I don't know your name. And thank you, boomstick man. Cool. Jim. Jim the boomstick man. May your boom be mighty. Goodbye.